But up next, going where no woman has gone before at the helm of an historic fireboat. But first, these messages.
This morning on today's Changing Roles, a fireboat engineer. It's a tradition to refer to a boat or a ship as a she. And in this next story, it's even more appropriate because the person responsible for making this fireboat go is, in fact, a woman. She was the first of her kind, a model for modern fireboats. And with a capacity to pump 18,000 gallons of water a minute, no other was more powerful than the John J. Harvey.
It was a brand new concept for me, the idea that there was a boat out there that's job was to fight fires.
I really don't want to try this one without
That was 10 years ago. Now Jessica DuLong is the chief engineer of the Harvey, the first woman to hold the position in the fireboat's 80-year history. So how does someone go from a .com job, where you're really just using your mind, not your hands, to becoming an engineer on a fireboat?
I started out as a volunteer and tried my hand at things and really launched an apprenticeship of the kind that there are not so many of in this country anymore.
I'm sure people think, oh, you work on a boat. That's great. You get to see the water, you get to be outside, but you're actually working down below, in the bowels of the boat, all alone. Do you ever feel isolated?
That's one of the things that I really love about it. It's just that it's, me and the engines, and that's where the action is for me.
All right, so this is your walk to work.
This is my walk to work.
Down below deck. Jessica's job is to take care of the fireboat's structure and equipment. You've got how many engines in the boat? She's also responsible for the repair and maintenance of 5 600-horsepower diesel engines. But at her control pedestal, due to her size, she's had to make some adjustments.
I kind of have to do a tiptoe thing.
Yeah.
So it works a lot better. I can get a lot more maneuverability when I pull this out and swing levers, and I can be faster. And he's responding.
Bob Lenny has been piloting the Harvey for over 3 decades. What did you think when you heard the news you were getting a female engineer?
It was all right. I mean, she was down there, I was up here. I didn't know, but then after we were working for a while, it was great.
The John J. Harvey was commissioned in 1931 and worked heroically until the New York Fire Department retired her in 1994. 5 years later, as she was about to be sold for scrap metal, a group of investors stepped in.
Here's a boat that we didn't know too much about, but we did know that she had historic importance.
2 years later, she would make history again. Tell me about September 11th. 2001, when the Harvey was called back into service.
Those days were really, incredible days. The reason that this boat was still able to pump water after she was coming up on her 70th birthday at that point was because she was built in such a fine, crafted way.
The Harvey pumped water for 80 hours. In your book, you write about how America is becoming so virtual and less hands-on. How much does that bother you?
I think it's a huge issue. I think it's a piece of America's heritage that we need to get back to, because this country was built on the sweat and labor and hard work of individuals who are physically connected with the world around them in everyday ways.
Individuals who, like Jessica, don't mind a little hands-on approach.
I'm always still learning every day, especially with this complex machinery that I'm working with. It's just, I will never know it all, so it's an ongoing experience.
And the John J. Harvey is now a designated historical vessel. She remains active, providing free trips up the Hudson and offering hands-on training. And Jessica's book about her experiences is called My River Chronicles, and to read an excerpt, you can go to our website.